And a good early Thursday afternoon to you, Roger Hill of Weathering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Big picture right now, we have a lot of cloud cover, and there are some holes in the clouds, and at times there could be a little bit of surface heating, and that could pop some thunderstorms. This is going to be a late day affair. Do see the latest heads up that was set earlier. This VELCO outlook will feature kind of the wettest weather moving in really tonight, and then exiting the region. We do dry up except for some scattered showers and thunderstorms Friday morning across the southern counties of Vermont. That'll then dissipate out. We're looking at generally drier weather, but still a threat of a couple thunderstorms working in, especially on Saturday evening, and then that kind of falls apart, and it looks like we do see drier weather working in, especially for the early part of next week, along with a heat wave that could be relatively significant. This will also include some pretty good humidity with it, and so heat indices will be up there, basically in the 90s. About the warmest it's going to be is somewhere going to be around 95, 96 in terms of heat index. But overall, the weather right now, and looking at some of the temperatures, is very, very warm out west. We have this big heat dome of higher pressure, a big ridge. This heat is going to kind of work its way into southern Canada and then work its way downward into the northeast United States. Let's take a look at some of the incremental modeling from the European. Looking at the current conditions, roughly around 17, 18 Z here, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this afternoon. And a little bit of shower activity has made it into the northwest corner of the state and generally across parts of New York. There's a little bit of breaks in the action, and this is where we could develop a little bit of thunderstorm activity, and then that sweeps into mainly our central and southern parts of Vermont. 1 or 2 could be strong. I'm not anticipating a really big day, however, in terms of thunderstorm activity. The strongest aspects for thunderstorms will be to the west across New York State, as anything we'll see generally weakening conditions once we work into the evening hours. However, this evening we could see some much needed rainfall. Hopefully it's beneficial and more widespread. Right now it doesn't look like it's going to be a major deal. Now, as we carry the model a little bit further along, you're looking at the bit of precipitation beginning to work on in, kind of working its way out of New York, and it's the central and southern parts of Vermont that'll be most active. Then a little bit of leftovers here. They kind of re-flare up during the mid to late morning hours on Friday. You can see right there. This is valid about 2 o'clock. That's 3. So a little bit of lingering business into the late part of the afternoon across the far southern sections. I think most of it is going to be in Massachusetts at that point in time. You can kind of see an old frontal boundary that'll be getting into the mix here with one main disturbance, kind of an Alberta Clipper system up in Canada. And keeping an eye on that, this area of low pressure will track to the north of us across Quebec. It'll drag a cold front through the region, and that cold front will work in during the evening hours on Saturday. Note the St. Lawrence River Valley with a secondary area of low pressure, and then that continues to work across the northern one half of Vermont. And we could see some thunderstorm activity that it'll be winding on down gradually, but it could be some pretty good fireworks here on Saturday evening into Saturday night, cutting across the northern areas, and then kind of dissipating out by the time we hit Sunday. Beyond that, looks like Monday is going to be a dry day. That's Sunday night into Monday, and except for a little bit of a frontal boundary kind of working its way across Quebec, that's about as close as it's going to get. It looks like it basically washes on out. And then on Tuesday, another system will set up and begin to approach us here. This is Tuesday. Actually, this is by Wednesday. And it does look like this system will be affecting us with a little bit of colder air. I'm going to take this a little bit further along, and you can see some much needed moisture along that old frontal boundary kind of bumping up against it. So once again, higher humidity late in the week next week. But also note this is colder air that's going to be dropping in for a visit, as it looks right now for this coming weekend. That's valid at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. And so things will cool on down. So if you like heat waves and hot summer weather, you're going to have to enjoy basically Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of this coming week. Looking at the 3-hourly QPF on the GEFS model, the Canadian data mixed in with the GFS, the global forecast system, we can see the most precipitation occurring basically with this current system that's working on in, that little secondary flare-up. And almost a daily diet of showers and thunderstorms. What does it amount to? Total QPF looks like this. And we're not really going to see a tremendous amount, but we do get some. It's beneficial. We'll take it. Where the heat waves have been occurring out west, you note how dry it is, very limited in the amounts of precipitation. A little bit of thunderstorm activity over the central and southern Rockies. But the main action's all out in the east with a kind of a high-pressure ridge and with a low-pressure system kind of working across Canada. It's kind of pulling everything together. And kind of a southwesterly flow with a lot of moisture coming in the Gulf of Mexico, and that's what's feeding our precipitation. Now, this is the next 7 days of total quantitative precipitation forecast, or accumulated precipitation, and we're looking at various amounts here. A little drier in Maine, a quarter of an inch, and anywhere from around a half inch to about 1 inch amounts, generally across the southern Adirondacks, Mohawk Valley, and then into the southern parts of Vermont. That's where the most precipitation will be falling. But overall, the trend is that this will be another below normal stretch of rainfall. Quick look at temperature anomalies. You can see that the warmer air is out west, and it's kind of coming across the southern portion of Canada. 2-meter temperature plot, and then with dew points overlaid, you can see the dew points get up around 60 to 65 degrees. Not seeing any of the really super stifling humidity levels or high dew points in the 70s, but generally staying a little bit below those thresholds. Now, temperatures aloft, looking at 850 hectopascals, about the slice of the atmosphere at the top of Mount Mansfield. You can see the warmest weather occurs basically on Monday, and that's along with the highest temperatures, of course. Now, looking at capes, or let's look at precipitable water real quickly. Not a whole lot of change, hanging right around the typical standard deviation, I guess. And then convective available potential energy each afternoon gets a little bit of a pump up with during the hottest time, of course, seeing the strongest capes. Now, this morning we were looking at shear that's up around 35 to 40 knots. It's making a little bit of a fall, and so that by later today, it's going to be around 35 knots or 30 to 35 knots per the latest short-range ensemble forecast. And then a little bit of an uptick during the night, and then tomorrow it basically falls back. And so we're looking at steering mechanisms for thunderstorms over this coming weekend to be relatively slow, and that's kind of the name of the game. Here comes the heat. This is the next 3 days. Excuse me, this is the next 5 days of meteorological output statistics, or MOS. We're running about 9 degrees above the norm, and 3 days later it should even warm up more. We're running 12 to 18 degrees above normal, and look at that stretch of heat. The only areas that remain chill are going to be in the southern part of the U.S. And a quick look at the heat index and what it means. It starts at 80. And, of course, you see dew point temperatures that climb. You can figure out your heat indices. And we're going to see mid-90s in some locations, maybe upper 90s in a few spots, not reaching quite 100. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.